Irashaimase Worldwide Web. Welcome to Lou Dub's 2022 Japan Cup preview. A race that's been spiced up by the presence of 4 European runners and a Japanese contingent that's low on established Group 1ers. 4-year-old Sharia is our favourite, though he's coming off a last start 5th, so I've got some question marks around him. Anyway, a bit of background. The Japan Cup is a Group 1 mile-and-a-half race that's been the property of the locals since 2005. Back in the 1980s, when the race was young, there were American-trained winners, there were British, French, and even some Southern Hemisphere winners in the shape of Horlicks for the Kiwis and Better Loosen Up for the Aussies. Since Alcacid won in 2005, though, it's been total domination for Japan. A lot of the foreign raiders do struggle with the firm tracks that are regularly dished up in Japan, but recently the JRA has been looking to entice some more quality foreign runners with the lure of bonus prize money for the outsiders. Okay, let's get into our runner-by-runner preview of the Japan Cup.
Simca Mille, Irish-bred 3-year-old, is very similar to Onesto, with most of his racing taking place in France. This year he's won 4 of 7 starts. When he didn't win, he was second. That's 3 times. Never far away, he'll make his own luck, leading or racing somewhere close to the pace. He still has to prove himself against the big boys, and there is a bit of a catch with his recent win in September. Since then, none of his opposition have placed in the first 4. Onesto is an Irish-bred 3-year-old who was second in the 2,000-metre Irish Champions Stakes up against all-age opposition, including Mishriff and Broome. He beat them. In his next start, the Prix de l'Arc de Triomphe, he finished 10th, possibly due to the heavy ground that day. Now, earlier in the year, Onesto won in France over a mile-and-a-half, beating his Japan Cup opponent Simca Mille by a neck. He's a contender if he handles the ground, and the booking of Premier jockey Christophe Lemaire, who's got an incredible strike rate at Tokyo, is a definite plus for Onesto and a sign that they're serious. Veltre Sende. This 5-year-old has drawn barrier 3, and there is a surprising amount of money for this horse. His last start, he finished 7th over 2,200 metres at Group 2 level. He finished behind 2 of his Japan Cup opponents, T.O. Royal and Daring Tact. But the joker in the pack is the booking of Aussie jockey Damien Lane, who won on him in June this year. Note, that was a Group 3 level win, and he didn't exactly rout his opposition. But he could be one that surprises. Trust Kenshin, the 7-year-old horse, has had a long career that has not included a Group 1 race appearance. Bizarrely, Trust Kenshin is trying out Group 1 for the first time in his career. Yet earlier this year he did contest 3 Group 2s over distances of 2,200 metres and 2,500 metres, and the best he could manage was 7th. Grand Glory. She contested the Japan Cup last year for a respectable 5th. Though she did finish 1.5 lengths behind Sharia, since then she had 2 wins in France over 2,000 metres and 2,100 metres. In June, she stepped up to Group 1 level at Royal Ascot and finished 3.25 lengths 3rd in the Prince of Wales Stakes. There she beat Japan Cup favourite Sharia by a head. That was on good to firm ground. Since then, she was a disappointing 7th in a Group 1 for fillies and mares over 2,400. Then she took on the Arc and finished a respectable 5th in the very inclement conditions. Bella Azul. This 5-year-old comes into the Japan Cup in career best form. He won the Group 2 Kyoto Daishoten at his last start. It's a race that's given us 2 Japan Cup winners in the last 6 runnings of the race, and he won it handsomely. Prior to that, he won a non-black type race over 2,400 metres at Tokyo. In that win, he beat Breakup. Breakup later went on to win the Group 2 Copa Republica Argentina over a similar distance. Vela Azul is in this up to his neck. Well, Tunis is the German runner. Tunis, not sure about the pronunciation. Tunis. A 3-year-old with 4 wins from 5 starts. He won the Deutsches St. Leger by 8 lengths. Then he beat his mature-aged opponents by 10 lengths in the Group 1 Prix von Bayern over 2,400 metres. The reason this horse is not a raging favourite is that people scoff at German form, and the legitimate question mark is, can he race on firm ground? All of his wins have been on soft or heavy. However, trainer Peter Schergen said on Asian Racing Report that Tunis had trained on good ground in Germany and it was not a problem for him. Keep in mind though that good ground in Germany could be and probably is different to good ground in Japan. Tunis's jockey is the regular jockey Berzan Mirzabayev. This guy from Kazakhstan has won the German Jockey Championship 3 times, so have no fear about his credentials. Don't let that stop you betting on Tunis. Daring Tact. She's a 5-year-old mare who took all before her in her 3-year-old season, winning the Fillies Triple Crown and then finishing 3rd in the 2020 Japan Cup. She only had 2 races in 2021, finishing 2nd in Group 2 level and 3rd at Group 1 level. In her 4 races this year, her best result was a 3rd in the Group 1 Takarazuka Kinen over 2,200 metres. Her last 2 starts, she has finished 6th. She's just not performing at her best these days. A quick guide to the Japan Cup circuit. The runners will start in the home straight and have a 350 to 400 metre dash to the first bend. From there it's 2 long arcing turns and onto the 525 metre home straight. Unicorn Lion, well, he really did have a form reversal at his last start, winning a Group 3 over 2,000 metres. His 3 runs prior, he couldn't manage a finish in the top 10. Back in 2021, he was 2nd in the Group 1 Takarazuka Kinen over 2,200 metres, and that would have to have been his career highlight. He's got barrier 9, he'll go forward and make his own luck leading or settling on pace. Heart's Histoire, the 6-year-old with just 17 starts, had his best ever result with a 2nd in the Group 2 Copa Republica Argentina earlier this month. He's won twice this year, once at listed level and another time in a restricted race. The negatives: he did try his hand at Group 1 in the Tenno Show Spring in May this year and finished a disappointing 16th after running out as the 7th most popular pick. Maybe he didn't cope with the 2 miles. He's got barrier 10 and will look to race near the pace or somewhere in the first half. He has old hand Yu Takatake on board, but he'll really have to work some magic to get him over the line first. Karate. Well, the 6-year-old had his best Group 1 result at his last start. He finished 6th in the Group 1 Tenno Show Autumn over 2,000 metres. Prior, he'd had 2 Group 1 starts over a mile and didn't finish inside the top 10. Another quandary about Karate is that over 33 starts, he's never tried a mile and a half before. Congrats to him. He did win the Group 3 Niigata Kinen 2 starts back, but it's not a race that throws up Japan Cup winners. Shadow Diva. This 6-year-old mare was a surprise inclusion in the race last year, coming off a Group 2 win over 1,800 metres. She managed a respectable 7th. Since the Japan Cup of 2021, the closest she's been to victory is a recent 7th. That 7th was in the same race, the Fuchu Himba, that she won in the lead up to last year's Japan Cup. So she's probably not in the same form as last year. If she was to be placed in this year's big race, it would be a case of hold all bets and let's undertake an immediate swabbing. T.O. Royal. This 4-year-old was a well-beaten favourite in his last start at Group 2 level, and his run prior in September at Group 2 level, there he was 5th over 2,200 metres, a similar distance to the Japan Cup. His best win was the Group 3 Diamond Stakes over 3,400 metres, that's 17 furlongs. The race after that, he was a decent 3rd over 2 miles in Japan's premier 2-mile race, the Tenno Show Spring. We're back to a mile and a half in the Japan Cup though. Danon Beluga, the only local 3-year-old. He's got gun Japanese jockey Yuga Kawada on board. His last start third in the Group 1 Tenno Show Autumn over 2,000 metres was a career highlight up against his more mature opponents, including Japan Cup favourite Sharia. He beat Sharia home by 2.5 lengths. Can he continue to improve? Earlier this year, he contested the Japanese Derby at Tokyo and finished 4th. Take a look at that on YouTube and make up your own mind. He'll be back in the field, but may be aided by what I anticipate will be a more than genuine pace. 4-year-old Sharia was third in this race last year. It's up for debate whether he's going as well as he was last year. He started this year with a win at Group 1 over 1.5 miles in the Dubai Shima Classic. Since, he's been 4th in a Group 1 over 2,000 metres, finishing a head behind one of his Japan Cup opponents, Grand Glory. Then he returned home for a crack at the Tenno Show Autumn over 2,000 metres. He started second favourite but finished 5th. Was that disappointing result because of a 4.5-month layoff? Sharia is favourite for the Japan Cup of 2022. Ridgeman, wow. A 9-year-old contesting the Japan Cup. Perhaps that's what he'll be remembered most for. He has contested 2 Group 1s in his career. That was back in 2018 and 2019. He finished 12th in the 2,500 metre Arima Kinen, and then he managed 8th in the Tenno Show Spring over 2 miles. In 2021 and in 2022, he raced over the jumps, managing 1 win. And hats off to Ridgeman. He's had a great career. Uberleben. She's drawn barrier 17, but it shouldn't be a great hindrance to her as Uberleben races close to the tail of the field. Her last win was the Japan Oaks in May of 2021 at Tokyo, but since then she just hasn't achieved at the same height. Her best result was a 5th in the Dubai Shima Classic, where she finished about 1 3/4 lengths behind Japan Cup favourite Sharia. I'm not quite sure about her recent 8th in the Tenno Show Autumn. She finished 1.5 lengths behind Sharia and about 4 lengths behind Danon Beluga. To her credit, she did make up a lot of ground down the home straight. Boccherini. This fella is a rare Japanese 6-year-old that's had his career best results in his 6-year-old season. He's had 4 starts this year, all at Group 2 level. His worst result was 3rd over 2,200 metres. His most recent win was at Tokyo over 2,500 metres. But he has to improve again, as his most recent 2nd was 2 3/4 lengths behind one of his Japan Cup opponents, Vela Azul.
Well, that's all 18 runners for the 2022 Japan Cup preview. I've already put my cash on. I think the German colt, Tunis, is silly odds, and I snapped up the 20-1 quote being offered at one of the big name bookies here in Australia. I've also got a little bit on Vela Azul. He should definitely be in the mix. He won Group 2 Kyoto Dai Show 10 by a good margin, and the win before that, he beat a horse called Breakup, who subsequently won the Group 2 Copa Republica Argentina, sorry. There are some questions that just can't be answered until after the race too, like will Onesto cope with the firm ground? If he does, he's going to be in it. Can Tunis cope with it? Of the foreigners, we know that Grand Glory doesn't struggle. She was pretty good with her 5th last year. And Simca Mille, it's possible he's improved since he was narrowly beaten by Onesto. It's a rare Japan Cup where there are some legitimate questions about the favourite. Sharia was 2nd favourite in his previous start and finished a well-beaten 5th. Grand Glory beat him when he raced at Royal Ascot earlier this year. The local colt Danon Beluga, he hit the line strongly in the Tenno Show Autumn, but can he run out a really genuine 1.5 miles against the mature age opposition? The race starts at 5:40 p.m. Australian Eastern Daylight Savings Time, and there is not usually, though there isn't a big pool usually for the trifecta or first 4, I just get the feeling with an upset on the cards it might be worth a small play. Alright, I'm hoping to hear Aussie commentator Murray Johnson calling home Tunis for the 2022 Japan Cup. Check the odds. Pick a winner.
Now it's easier than ever to have band.video on your iPhone. Simply go to band.video with your Safari browser. Then you click the share button at the bottom of the screen. When the menu comes up, you simply click Add to Home Screen. It will then ask you to name the app. I suggest band.video. You will now have band.video app on your home screen, despite the fact that Tim Cook tried to stop it. The globalists think you're lazy, but by taking a little bit of action, you can override them, have the app, and then tell others about it so they can get the app. So it's up to you whether you want to defy big tech and click the share buttons below on your email, on Facebook, on Twitter, on YouTube, however you want. Be sure and share band.video.